So I'm going to be making DIY lipstick for the first time, and I'm excited to be bringing you guys along in this journey with me. If this is your first time here, I'm Tassiani and you're watching TJTV. Suggested that I should try to do this video and try to make my own DIY lipstick, and I thought, hey, that sounds really cool, and I really want to make this into a DIY that works properly and I can share, and hopefully maybe we'll both learn something. The other DIYs that I do are super fun. I hope that this one actually works, and yeah, and make it kind of like a little cute video. But I didn't realize how hard it was going to be. So the first step that I did was, of course, research how to make my own DIY lipstick, and the first site that I came across was WikiHow, which, you know, has everything, and it seemed pretty easy. All you needed is like 3 base ingredients, melt it all together, put a little bit of color, and ta-da, you're done. But I wanted a little bit more research, see if WikiHow was right, or if there's any other blogs out there that had some really good ideas, and you know what, most of the blogs seemed to be pretty similar to WikiHow. There were 1 or 2 that were a bit more complicated, and guys, who needs more complicated? I definitely do not need more complicated. You've seen my videos, and let's stick to the simple and the basics. And there were other ways to do it that seemed even easier. So there were ways with crayons and with eyeshadow, but I decided to make this really kind of organic and really truly DIY and not fake it with, you know, food coloring or with pencils or crayons that already have color. So I decided to go with this simple, what I thought was simple, recipe. So all the ingredients I needed were the beeswax, then the cacao butter or shea butter. You could also use some other types of butter like avocado butter, what you have, I guess, and then also some sort of oil. So that's the base ingredients. And then the next ingredient, the only one you need, is some sort of color, and it's up to you what you choose. Apparently I read online that beetroot powder gives you a really nice color, so I decided to go with it if I could find it. Otherwise berries, you know, something that would give it a nice kind of red or purple or pink tone. So that's what I was going with. Then came actually buying the ingredients. Now this was the hardest part ever. I did not know what I had gotten myself into when I decided to do this challenge. So again, there was more research on where to actually find these products, because I thought they were going to be in the supermarket, and they won't. So please, if you're gonna do this at home, I actually recommend, if you're not in a hurry, to buy them online. Amazon has way better variety, or even if you search health food stores, it's so much easier to find ingredients online than in real life. But hey, maybe where you live, it's easier to find these ingredients. So, you know, good luck with it. The hardest part as well was that I didn't want to spend too much money on this because I don't even know if it's gonna work. So, so that was a bit tricky. First thing that I actually did buy was the beeswax. So online I found that it was at Bunnings, and you know, Hayden came with me and we tried to look for it. And yeah, it was a bit hard because Bunnings is so big and it's right where wood polishes and wood finishes are, which felt a bit weird because I was like, this is going on my lips. Are you sure it's safe? But we checked. 100% natural beeswax, and even on the label it says you can use for DIY products. So and then the next bit was the hardest thing for me to find. Again, if you're doing this at home and you have time, find it online. It's so much easier. So it was shea butter or cacao butter, and I could only find moisturizers that weren't 100% shea butter, and I was afraid to put it on my lips. So it was a bit of a tricky one, but I did end up finding a Reddit thread with someone asking the same thing, where they could find cacao butter in Sydney in store. And one of the stores was this really cute store that I just found out, and you can buy a lot of these natural ingredients per kilo or per 100 grams. So I went there and I was really happy because online on their website I had seen that the minimum was 100 grams and everything was $13. So it'd be $13 for cacao butter and it'd be about the same for the beetroot powder. And I already spent money on the beeswax, so I was like, this is turning out to be a super expensive lipstick, and I'm using a teaspoon of each. But I got there and there was no minimum for anything, and it's just per weight. So I only ended up spending $2 for the last ingredients, so that was so good, and I had oil at home, so we were good there. Then next is making it. The fun part of this, we finally got to it. It took me days to get to this part. So let's just get to the video of me making it. Cool, so the first thing I'm gonna do now that I have all my ingredients in front of me and the recipe, I'm actually going to melt the cocoa butter and the beeswax both separately, just because it does say that you're supposed to melt them together, but then it also gives you the quantities of each in teaspoons or milliliters, and right now I can't really tell because they're both pretty solid. So we're just gonna melt them. Cool, so while I'm melting, I just wanted to point out that the beetroot does smell really strong of beetroot, and I'm not too sure if my lipstick is gonna end up smelling like that or tasting like that, so we're gonna see. So another way you can melt it is using like the stove and using, you put it on top of boiling water. But it did say that we can melt it in the microwave, so that should be fine. I don't know if you can see, but that's it. Obviously I can't tip it and show you guys, but now just to melt the beeswax. So cacao melts, I'm going to start putting all my ingredients together. So it's just a teaspoon of each of the 3 base ingredients. So that's the cacao butter or shea butter, whatever you have. Then the oil, again, depending what oil you have. Coconut oil I thought we had, but turns out we didn't. I'm not going to keep spending more money and buying more things. And then of course the beeswax. So the ratio is just 1 to 1 to 1. 1 teaspoon seems like nothing, so I don't really know. I guess maybe I'll do, depending how much beeswax I have, but at least one of these spoons, which is in between a teaspoon and a tablespoon, so it should work out fine. So I'm just gonna get one of the cacao butter, put it in the same quantity as the cacao. I just wonder how this lipstick is gonna smell. Yeah, so it's really hot. These glass bowls are also pretty, but they get hot really quickly. Maybe I think the stove is actually probably a better idea, but this one was pretty quick and easier to set up with the camera. A little bit more. Okay, so that's just, yeah. Oh my gosh, as soon as I put it in, it starts hardening. I'm gonna try and get a picture of how it looks now. The kind of white area, as soon as I put the wax, that's what happened. Oh wow, it hardened like immediately. It's so hard. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now I see why they say you have to melt it all together. So I think I actually have to put this one in the microwave as well, so that I can mix it while, because it's just hardened instantly. Cool, so now everything has melted, so mixing it all together, perfect. There's not a lot though, so I want to see how much lipstick we make. But then I'm just going to start putting in a little bit of then the powder and just mixing it in till we get a color that I like. So it's kind of turning it murky brown, but hey, brown looks good in your lips, so it's okay. I really thought it was going to be like a pink color, but I don't know, it's looking more brown than anything. I guess it depends on also what butters you use and what olive oil you use. Although I didn't use anything of a dark color, so I'm not too sure. And then I'm just going to pour it into this little container here so that it's easy to grab, and so I can show you guys when it dries. And, oh, but the color is all at the bottom. It doesn't want to mix in. Okay, so it's literally the tiniest amount. I don't know if you can see it, but it's so, there's like almost nothing in there. And as soon as I put it into this, it actually hardened already. It's starting to harden. I guess because the container isn't hot. And that wax, it really hardens. Look at this one. This is the wax that we had melted before. You know what? If you're making like candles and things, it can be pretty tricky. You gotta keep it hot and you gotta do it quickly. It doesn't look too bad actually. It doesn't look like the pink I wanted. It looks more of a nude color now that I see it. But it's looking good. I'm just gonna leave it to rest for a little bit longer and then we're gonna come back and see the results. Cool, so I got my lipstick out of the fridge. It's too hot today, so I couldn't just leave it out. It would probably take forever to dry. But I think it's ready, so I have my cotton swab and I am going to try and test it. Okay, so they definitely don't smell like beetroot or olive oil. They smell like honey and kind of cocoa butter, so it's fine. And if you want to see, this is kind of a bad swatch test of what it looks like. You can see by the swatch test, it has a very light color, especially when you really rub it on. So I guess don't be afraid to put that coloring in when you're first mixing, because as it dries, it goes back to that kind of yellowy color. But I think it's a really good lip balm actually. My lips feel very hydrated, very moisturized. But color-wise, you guys are gonna have to tell me because you're gonna see the footage back to back. I don't really see much of a difference. So next time I would definitely pull more of the color and experiment with different colorings. Cool, so that's how it turned out. Because I didn't spend too much in the last two ingredients, it didn't end up being too expensive, maybe $10, but I don't know if it's worth it. I can buy like Burt's Bees on sale for about the same price, and to be honest, it's much easier. My lips feel just as great. So I don't really know where I stand with this. I guess if you like to know where your products come from, it's a really good way. It's really cool to make it yourself, and just make sure to then put a lot of color, even if it's eyeshadow or something or food coloring, I don't know. But just because, you know, the beetroot powder, I thought I put a lot of, but didn't really end up making a difference. It is a nice nude color. It gave my lips a bit of shine, and it did feel really like nice and moisturized. You know, the butter, the oil, like how could it not? Please comment down below if you have made one, if you have ever made your own DIY, you know, makeup. I think it's really cool if you can do it. I don't think I'll be making it for myself again, just because I'm not very good at it and it was not worth it. But please tell me what you thought of this and what you thought of this video as well, because it is slightly different. You know, I always like experimenting with something new. Even if it doesn't work out, I think that there's so much fun in the trying process and you learn so much, even when you do not, you know, fully succeed. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe. I post new videos every single week, so I'll see you next week. Bye!